Okay, so let me start by saying how delighted I am really to be able to join you virtually at this important event, which marks the launching of George Obado's book, My Leadership Letters. As has already been explained, I was to be there with you in person, and all arrangements had been made, and thank you for all the plans that you made for my travel. Unfortunately, as has already been stated, at about 4:15 on Saturday, I was involved in a horrific road accident, which nearly took my life. But God in heaven, who cares for his children, protected me, and I came out of the mangled wreckage with only superficial injuries around my neck and shoulders. The doctors have strongly advised me to go for more checkups, and this will continue tomorrow. And I must say that I submit to whatever examination they want me to undertake, because life is very important. But I'm grateful that technology has enabled us to interact, and I'm able to join you virtually. So I have had the privilege of working in parastatals and also in a parastatal and in private sector for about 40 years, 30 of which have been in management and leadership positions, and the last 17 as an executive at Safaricom PLC. But even with that experience, I cannot claim to be worthy of the honor to be called a keynote speaker. I believe such honors are preserved of professors at the university, management and leadership gurus, and scholars. But I just want to spend the 8 minutes that I have been given, and I'll be extremely brief, to share my thoughts born out of my experience that it is critical. Leadership is very critical in building sustainable business. Leadership, the role of a leader, is critical in building sustainable organizations. Let me start by seeking to address the question of what is leadership. I believe leadership is the ability to induce your team to work with confidence, determination, courage, and zeal. It is also the ability to influence a group towards the realization of a goal. Leaders should have the capability of developing visions to drive organization and to be able to attain that vision. Sadly, I must say that we do not prepare talent adequately for leadership position. That is my strong view, that as organizations, as businesses, we do not prepare our talent adequately for leadership roles. We thrust them into leadership positions, thinking that because they are top talent, they will also be top leaders. It does not happen that way. Very soon we see the gap, and we hurriedly arrange for leadership training instead of being intentional and being purposeful. That the moment we detect that, the moment that we spot that there's a talent here, a talent that can grow into a leadership role, I believe we should be able to start preparing them to take up leadership positions. It is my humble contribution that this book that we are launching today will contribute immensely in preparing and in equipping our upcoming leaders to take up this important role. The organizations that we serve deserve to have leaders that are properly equipped. We probably prepare our managers much better than we prepare our leaders. Secondly, I would like us to consider purpose. And And from my experience, if there's the one thing I would want to recommend and to encourage organizations to pursue, is to have compelling purpose, a very clear purpose, a compelling purpose, and this has to be communicated well to the organization. Purpose defines the essence of the business, why it exists, and who it exists for, and how it makes a difference to the world. It is the reason why we wake up in the morning. In the company that I work for, Safaricom PLC, we realized from the very beginning that it is critical for us to define a purpose. That purpose is not just about providing connectivity. We said that our purpose is about transforming lives. I do remember on one occasion we were visiting the coast with my CEO, Bob Collymore, the late Bob Collymore. And we were in one of our shops. And we asked one of the female colleagues who was working in that shop. And we asked her, what does transforming lives mean to you? What does transforming lives actually mean to you as you work in this shop? And without hesitation, she said that when I sell airtime, I know someone will use this to inquire about the health of a loved one. He may recommend a hospital to be visited and even send money for treatment by M-Pesa. And as a result, the life is saved. You know, when I was presenting this to a group of leaders, when I said Safaricom's purpose is to transform lives, some of them laughed because they said that even us, we are about transforming lives. But you know, it is not about PR, but it is about incorporating that purpose in everything that we do and demonstrating in word and deed that we are about transforming lives. And from the example I've just given you, you can see right up to the ranks, our staff know that we are in the business not just of providing connectivity, but to actually touch and to transform lives. And so purpose can be emotional and talks to the heart of the business. It is not about profits. It is about being a force for good. And when you do good, profits will follow. And I can say that without fear of contradiction, that when you do good, when you do the right thing, profits will follow. This has been our experience at Safaricom for the last 21 years, that we have focused on doing good, and we have seen the results. Some say that we're the biggest company in East and Central Africa. So we used purpose, therefore, to influence even the decisions that we make regarding the products that we deliver for our customers, the services that we offer, and therefore we say that we put purpose before profit. We put purpose before profit. We connect people to people, we connect people to knowledge, and we connect people to opportunities. Thirdly, we must consider vision. And organizations need to articulate a vision of where they want to accomplish, where they want to be. And that vision has to be clear. And when it is clear and compelling, it does energize the population of your staff to work toward a defined future. And so at Safaricom, we have said that our vision is to be a purpose-led technology company by the year 2025. We want to be a purpose-led technology company by the year 2025. Now, this has been cascaded to the entire organization, and we've not just done that, but we've defined clearly what strategy we need to pursue in order to be a technology company. Yes, we've been very successful as a telecommunications company, but we have found that being a telecommunications company limits us as to what we can do and we can be for the society that we serve. So we are saying that we now need to do more to lift the floor for others. And this is an important point. Not do more for the sake of doing more, but to do more in order to lift the floor for others in different sectors, and particularly in health, in agriculture, and in education. And also we are recognizing that the micro, small, and medium enterprises, these are truly the engine of growth. But they're not reaching their full potential because they need to be supported. We need to lift the floor for MSMEs to be at the level where they can truly be the engine of growth. So we acknowledge that we cannot do this on our own. And therefore we want to be an integral part of a digital ecosystem that spurs growth. Being an integral component of a digital ecosystem that spurs growth. And that is our vision for 2025, to be a purpose-led technology company. A leader must be able to articulate that vision and to inspire others to join on that journey. But I must emphasize that it is not about sloganeering, but must consist of a well-defined rationale of how decisions that we make today will be able to lead us to the future that we want to realize. On another occasion, when we have time, I'll be happy to discuss how mission leadership and mission philosophy, which is from the Army and which we are applying in our strategy implementation, I would like to share how this has led us to define the steps that we need to take in order to realize our vision of 2025. So once again, it's not about sloganeering, but it's about defining that future that we want to be, what we want to be for the society during that time, and how we work with others in order to deliver for the society. And when you do that, I want to repeat, profits will follow. In the time that I've been given, I cannot talk about servant leadership, which is well defined in that book. I cannot talk about the role of emotional intelligence, again, very well defined in the book. But let me conclude by giving real-life examples of how leaders have impacted me personally in my career and leadership journey. Over this period of 40 years, I've worked with 8 CEOs. And I can tell you that I've learned something from each one of these 8 leaders. And a leader must be willing to learn. Learning agility is a key attribute of any leader. You must be ready to learn. You must be comfortable to be in a room where there are more knowledgeable people than yourself. And you know, being a leader doesn't mean you know everything. Be willing to learn from others, regardless of their positions. Just be willing to learn from others. And so, I have worked, as I've said, with 8 CEOs. And from my first CEO, some of the names I'll not mention, they're since deceased. Some I'll mention because they're much more recent. So from my first CEO, I learned great lessons of how to be loyal. How to be loyal to your employer. How to work diligently for your employer so that your attention is not divided by any other thing, but to deliver for your employer, and that your effort matters within the team. You must be loyal and deliver For my second employer, I learned the Kaizen principle. This was in the early 90s. And, Kaizen is Japanese, and it's about hard work and about high quality outputs. And so from Masaki Imai, who was the founder of the Kaizen Institute, he defines Kaizen as an improvement, continuous improvement in personal life and home and social life and all of that. It was about continuous improvement, which is then being applied in the workplace. So that was my second CEO, teaching us the importance of continuous improvement. From my third CEO was obsessive about customer services. He said we cannot survive in our business if we don't put the customer at the center of everything that we do. Now, that was in the mid to late 90s. And therefore, he really mobilized the organization, which at that time was a monopoly. Some people will remember Kenya Telecom, Post and Telecoms organization. I worked for that organization. Even in Tanzania, there was Tanzania Post and Telecommunications. And some of the CEOs there, we worked very closely together. So for them, at that time, customer service was absolutely critical. And then from my fifth CEO, he was all about building networks. He said that in this career that we find ourselves, in the role that we find ourselves, we must develop networks. And networks will put you in very good stead if you want to deliver, even on your purpose, even on your vision. And therefore, I learned to build networks, and I can tell you, because I was then general manager for strategy and regulatory affairs, networks that I built in government supported me even as I was delivering on my mandate. Now, from my sixth CEO, now I can mention some names. My sixth CEO is Michael Joseph, who today is a chairman of Safaricom PLC after serving as a CEO for 10 years. And from him, he said that leader must move out of his comfort zone. And therefore, he challenged me to move from chief corporate affairs to be the chief human resources without any kind of training. He said that leadership does not necessarily require that you are subject matter expert. As a leader, you can bring the resources and the talent that you need to deliver on your mandate. And therefore, he challenged me to move into HR. And I can tell you, I spent 6 years there, which were the most rewarding in my career. From my seventh CEO, Bob Collimo, I learned the meaning of purpose. Yes, we had purpose from the very beginning, but this is the gentleman who truly articulated what purpose is.